Hello again. How you doing? Right. I don't believe I spent all of our prestigium, so that was a good move. I just wanted to see. It's going to keep asking for more prestigium, so I'm going to keep saving. Because honestly, the amount of prestigium it wants is silly amounts of prestigium, and this is going to have to come down a lot in order for us to actually start spending prestigium, which is disappointing, I'll grant you. I'm glad I don't have a table mic. I would have made a rubbish drummer. Actually, I was actually not a bad drummer as drummers go. Like, for somebody, I never trained, right? But I had friends of mine who did try and train me in how to drum. And, like, so the drummer in my band, for example, he was like, you can drum. And I was like, can I? He was like, yes, look, do this. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, I hate you. And I was like, why? He was like, you just picked it up. And I was like, well, I had a good teacher. He was like, no, it took me ages to learn that. I was like, really? He was like, yeah. And I was like, oh. But I wasn't good, right? Don't get me wrong. There's a difference between being able to pick up information when they teach you it and being able to do more than that, right? So he had been training for 10, 15 years or something. So him showing me something that's quite basic and me picking up immediately is not difficult, right? Because he's been doing it for so long, he knows how to teach it. Or at least he was a good teacher for that respect. But yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of the business, right? He taught me a thing, I did the thing, and it worked out okay. But yeah, sadly, never got a drum kit when I was a kid. I always wanted a drum kit, but my parents were very much like, no drum kits for you. You're not allowed drum kits because drum kits are too noisy. And I'm like, who for? And they were like, the neighbours? And I was like, okay. And then they were like, how about guitar? I was like, well, I need an amplifier. They were like, okay. I'm like, I don't think you've thought this through. Guitars with amps are just as noisy. I think they had a problem with drummers. They also obviously didn't understand the concept of soundproofing. Admittedly, we didn't have digital drum kits back then, so it would have been harder. But, you know, if you glue enough carpet to a wall, it does absorb a lot of noise. They could have just built me a shed, basically made of carpet, then it would have been fine. Carpet and glue. Make it real dense, essentially. Kind of like me. And I'm not talking about having lots and lots of mass to a very small weight. Oh, I just really want this to be finished. This one here, particularly. I want this one to be done, so I never have to look at this again, except for to press this button here. Well, we're nearly at the point where we're at 15 billion, right? So I can press this one soon. Ooh, how exciting. But if I press this one, I can't press this one. So, it's tricky. It's a difficult position to leave me in. Oh, I can press that again. Yeah, so I knew we would spend calcium at some point, right? Not calcium, magnesium. But we haven't really spent calcium anywhere. But it looks like I'm building our own universe in this tab. It looks like we're going to build our own universe out here, which is fine, I suppose. 1 minute 15 seconds per prestigium. That's pretty good. We're going to end up with about 60. I like that. Which will put us over 200 prestigium, which is nice. It's going to take us a while to get anywhere with it, though. It's this one. This is the button that I want to press. Well, this is the button I want to press. This is the thing that matters. Use that at get I-M-A-N-I. Sorry, that's me singing along to, well, wording along to the far side. Which one is it? On the down low. Well, technically it's on the DL, but you know, it's on the down low is the name of the song by the far side. I'm pretty sure it's Lab Cabin California, but it might not be. Hang on, let's have a look. I'm investigating. doesn't say from that look. Here we go. Right. This is called... Oh no, it's Bizarre Ride. So, yeah, the album's Bizarre Ride. And the band's called The Far Side. And the song is the DL. On the DL. Oh, that was amazing. Amazing is a strong word for it, but it was good. 23.4%. Nearly 1 in 4 chance to get titanium, which is nice. Yeah, I'm a bit of a completionist though. I want to press all the buttons. Like, I'm not going to bother at the end of this episode pressing all the buttons. I'm just not going to do it. I don't want to spend the prestigium. It takes too long to accrue. Like 74 seconds of prestigium is still a long time in my world. Like, this number's going to get all the way over here at some point. Hell, this number is going to get all the way over here at some point. Or at this rate, I should say. Which is, you know, yeah, a thing. Might as well gather extra aluminum. Yeah, I went there. All of my a million British people turned in their graves. That's fine. I don't think they'll really turn in their graves. If they do, we've got a bigger problem than me gathering aluminium. Because it would seem that the zombies are about to attack. So yeah. So apparently Europe is boycotting American goods because of Trump's tariffs. And it's like, really? That's your solution? It seems like an odd solution to me, personally. Well, it's potentially good because you're lowering their ability to export. But also, I mean, how much American products do the French actually buy? Outside of the stuff that was stealth bought by American companies. You know, because there are some products that, you know. So, what was it? There was a British one that used to be very British and now it's not, it's American, and it's like, oh, okay. But it was a confectionery. And it's like, okay, fine. I mean, what are you going to do, right? Can't really complain about it. Nobody will listen. I checked. They never do. 73 seconds. Ooh. Ooh, we're at 15 billion silicon. Hang on, where did I needed that for you, didn't I? Increase the pump rate. But I need 15.4 billion. We've got 15.4 billion. I just need some more aluminium to make a change. It's almost like aluminium is the thing that we require in this game. It's pretty much the only resource we do require in this game, if I'm honest. The rest of it is kind of moot. That and prestigium, apparently. Because titanium's quite important, but only in order to get more aluminium. That's where I've spent most of my titanium, is on the increase in production or output of that, right? Press that button, go here, press this button, press that button. Have a look here. We're nearly there. No, we're not. We're nowhere near. But yeah. Yeah, 20 billion. It's going to take us a while to get there then. Well, that's a thing, apparently. And we're going so fast that we're just gathering tachyons at a production rate that just can't be calculated. Right. Times 10 to the 22. 3 times 10 to the 22. That's a lot. That's 22 zeros after this 3. So we can see one. No. Anyway, doesn't matter. I just want to check that, right? Is that right? Yeah, they keep putting a comma in when they probably shouldn't. Yeah, they are. They put commas in where there shouldn't be one. That's a typo. But, you know, it's fine. Ooh. Poor man's poison. Very nice. They're a American country group. What's the name of the song? You should definitely look this one up. It's good. Devil's Price. It's good. It's really good. Right. It's probably my favourite song by them. Yeah, clicking on the button doesn't help it. $72. You know, I met somebody where I went to a rave, not that recently, but I went to a rave. And it was good, right? It was good fun. Much fun was had by all, or most, as is always the case, most. So we're at this rave, and on the way out, I met this guy, and he said to me, you know, I've got 3 rules for life. And he was like, don't be judgmental, try and listen, never give advice. And I started laughing and I went, I see you did that, that's really good. And he went, oh. He was a little bit surprised, I think, because he's obviously said that line before and people have gone, oh, I'm going to take that on board. Time's running away and it's running fast. Whoa, said I know. I used to walk down the very same road. And if I do, give me some advice. And that's where it came from. They were singing about giving advice, and it reminded me of a thing. Sorry, couldn't help myself. I had to sing along for a little bit. I don't mean to. I mean, I do, kind of. I shouldn't, but I kind of can't stop myself sometimes. Can I press that button? I can press that button. Amazing. I want to try and max that out. We've got loads of iron, it's not like it's a problem. The problem is magnesium now, apparently. Yeah. 164. Slowly getting there. And when I say slowly, I literally mean slowly. Could you imagine, right, if I just pressed it and then it goes, oh, you know, like a couple of episodes where I did it and it was like, oh, now add 10 more. It's like, what? And I'd done it the way that it suggested. This would take me months. Months, I tell you. At least this way we're going to get enough prestigium pretty quickly because of the nature of, you know, collection fees. Well, we're up to 165 because it's taking us like just over 70 seconds per prestigium, right? I mean, I'm assuming it's just over 71 seconds, right? Which is still a lot of prestigium time, but at 1 a minute nearly. That's good, right? Because, you know, it's helping. Yeah. Ooh, I can press that button again. 71%. Ooh. Well, don't need to be spending all that magnesium there, but what else am I going to do with it? I want to see where it maxes out. Ooh. Yet another great song. This is You Let Your Heart Go Too Fast by the Spin Doctors. I think it's from their second album. I would have to unlock my phone to be able to do that. Yes, it is. And it's from the album... Hang on. Oh, that's difficult to read. Hang on. Hang on, where are we? Turn It Upside Down. It's not an easy album cover to read. Not from a phone. I could just go and get the actual album from my CD collection, but I'm not going to. It's one of the things about the YouTube music and Spotify and all that lot, is that it's completely killed the buying of CDs from things, right? And I love CDs because they've got like the little insert in the front of it, and you can flick through it and have a look, and sometimes they've got the lyrics, and they've normally got some really nice artwork and some photographs from gigs and stuff that you wish you'd been to, you know, or at least if you were me, you wished you'd been to. Oh. Over 5 million now. I remember when 5 million aluminium was a real pain to get to. I mean, still a pain to get to, but I remember when it was a real pain to get to. Now it's just marginally annoying. We're up to 70 seconds. Amazing. I still can't press the button, but nearly. Still nearly half a minute. So I'll just collect some more aluminium doing this. Actually, we're nearly at the point where we can get... yes. Sorry, I didn't finish that sentence. But what I meant was we're nearly at the point where we can upgrade some of our titanium production. So, not the chance of titanium, but the actual titanium itself. Right. Doink. Right, now, in here, I can press this button, and I press this a whole bunch, and then I should... Well, that's fine. And then, now, what do we do? Because I could click this button. No, I couldn't. Or that one. I can't click that one either. So that solves that problem. There we go. That was worth it, right? We got some extra proc from it. I much like. That's good. Down to 66 seconds. Huh. That means we're getting prestigium when I click the button for 10 minutes of stuff. I figure. I mean, it seems logical, right? Just wish I could speed that up. 730. And we're at 242. I mean, in reality, we're a third of the way there. So, I mean, it's not too bad. It's not great either, but hang on. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's still 66 seconds. Oh, it's Bernard Cribbins. Digging and all. I couldn't tell you what albums it's from because I don't know that it's got an album. But it's Bernard Cribbins, Hole in the Ground. And somebody did a video of it because they didn't really have music videos back when he did this song, I think. And they played it out in Lego. Don't dig there, you're digging it square. I'm sorry. Anyway, it's funny. I like that song. Where a hoe don't belong. He was in Doctor Who, this Bernard Cribbins chap. Oh, it's going behind here. Whoa. Well, I mean, I don't care either. It works for me. I I wonder if I doubt you unlock anything from doing this, right? This one here, like, I would like to think that you get something from doing all of it, but you don't. You mustn't. You can't. I mean, you might, but I just don't believe you do. Still 66 seconds. Disappointment. 7,480 bonus mats. So, per second. No, we get 3. Do we get 3? Yeah, it is. Because of this one, right? Because it's minus 0.7, so you get 3 per second, which means we get quite a lot of aluminium per second. Theoretically, you get 15,000 per second, give or take. Not exactly, but it can't be that far off, right? Ooh, can I spend some more magnesium? Yeah. Is this Charlie by Prodigy? Off the White Album? Or The Experience as it was actually known, but we all call it the White Album because in reference to, or paying homage to the Beatles' White Album. Yeah. Sampled from a kid's infomercial about how to cross roads. Charlie says always look both ways when trying to cross the road, or something along those lines. Right, but it's a classic, right? So it's like it's a precursor to drum and bass, realistically. Like some would suggest it's probably like the very beginnings of proper drum and bass in the sort of semi-commercial sphere. Right, because Prodigy became very big. I mean, you've probably already heard of them, right? But the Experience was, what, 1992, 1991? Mate of mine's sister used to date one of the guys from the Prodigy, which was weird. I hadn't even heard of him when that was occurring. I was about to click on this tab, and I was about to click there, but that's where we already are. Look, it's because I noticed we were close to this bit. Yeah, that's the thing. Ooh, 65 seconds. Nice. But we want 196 and we'll be down to 60 seconds. It's quite amazing how quickly that's actually going up, realistically. We're nearly at the point where we can spend some more of this. I remember when that was 15 titanium or something. I mean, I don't clearly remember that it was 15 titanium, but I remember it wasn't anywhere near 2,000. Like, we're now at the point where it costs more to upgrade that than it is in the titanium cost alone, obviously, because Prestigium only requires 2,000 titanium. And this now costs more. But it's worth it. Because every time I click on this, we get closer to getting these. And every time we click on this, we get closer to getting these. But given that this takes 35 million aluminium, it's just not worth it, right? It's just not worth it. It's worth it at the beginning to speed this up, to get this number down, or this number down, I suppose. So I like it for that, but it still takes too blooming long. Brr. Let's go back to this then. Yes, always find a safe space to cross the road. Not a safe space. I think I'm going to eat steak tonight. I've got some steak. So I had quite a steaky. I don't know if I mentioned it. I had a steaky weekend. So I had steak on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was glorious, right? Because I perfected the recipe for medium rare steak in an air fryer. Now it's done by weight, right? So I normally eat rump steak, so a 10 ounce or 250 gram rump steak. For those of you who do that sort of thing, depending on which side. And so, yeah, I now know how to do a perfect steak in an air fryer for medium rare. I'd worked out how to do a blue steak a long time before that because I love blue steak, but I was showing other people how to do it in their air fryer. So I did one on Friday at my house in order to perfect it, just to make sure I got it exactly right on the Friday, and then I went round to see my parents, and they surprised me by going, "Oh, speaking of, just thought we'd get steak in tonight, and then you can cook it for us using the air fryer." I was like, "All right, fine." So I wasn't expecting it, but I had steak on Saturday as well, because I planned to go to a friend of mine on Sunday to do more steak. So, which is why, do it on the Friday. That way you have a day off of steak, and then so you're not being ridiculous. But the steak I had on Saturday, there was so much of it. My parents buy these massive bits of meat from Costco, I think it is. And there's such a large amount of steak that I was like, right, okay, fine. So I cooked it, and it turned out lovely. Like, they were very impressed, and it wasn't even done to my instructions, because I left my dad in charge, and my dad being my dad only listened to half the instructions because he wasn't the boss. He makes a really good boss, and when he was younger he made a really good not boss, but he's now old enough and has been, well, he's been retired 3 times at this point, that he doesn't like being the not boss, so when he's given instructions he doesn't really pay attention anymore. It's kind of irritating when you're trying to get something right. So anyway, but I was like, it's not done exactly right. Next time I'll buy the steaks and I'll cook them for each of you. And they were like, oh, okay. Yes, dear. Because that's how my dad is. He's like, yes, dear. Very much to both my mum and I. So yeah, like, I love Jurassic 5. I talk about them enough, you must realise that by now. So this is lesson 6. It's a great song. Anyway, so like, yeah, there was a moment of inattention that could have brought it all crashing down, but it worked out fine in the end. And then, so I went round my friend's house, and I didn't finish my steak on Saturday, and so I took it away in a box. I'm going to finish it off today. I'm going to go nom 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 nom. I'll have to reheat it, but that'll be fine. I'll just reheat it in the air fryer. It'll be fine. Although, actually, I don't know. No, I'll have to reheat it in the air fryer. There's no way I can reheat it in the microwave. It'll go, meh. And once I've finished recording this episode, I'm going to go and get it out of the fridge and leave it to get room temperature before I even think about cooking it. Which means that I won't eat for another couple of hours, which is just one of those things, I suppose. It's the sacrifice of steak, but worth it. Worth every second. Right, hang on. Ah, that's fine. It's still single digit. I wonder if we've gone on to we haven't gone on to a different page. I didn't think we would have. I just wanted to look out of idle curiosity. Because I thought it'd be funny that we might have. They might have just given us another screen of just blackness. You are not here. Because that's what it should say. Instead of no, that one. Instead of saying you are here, it should say you are not here, or anywhere on this screen. We're gone. But yeah, 63. I mean, look at that. We're getting somewhere now, right? We're really getting somewhere. We can get up to 770 drones. Right? Doesn't look like a lot, but that's 77% chance of getting titanium every second. I don't even want to think about how much aluminium it's going to cost us to get there, but hopefully we won't not find out. I mean, that's halfway to 50% now. Between 25% and 50%, that is. It's like 37.5% or whatever the number is that's appropriate for that. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry, I had the record at the wrong speed. Sorry. I can't help it. Some things just make me say words. It's terrible in meetings, I'll be honest. Fortunately, I don't do meetings because I used to listen to music in one earpiece when I was in meetings because I'd get bored. Because meetings are very slow, and the detail of information presented is generally reasonably superficial, and delivered slowly and poorly and invariably quite boringly, if that's a verb or an adjective, whichever one it is. But yeah, so I would find them very, very boring, and I struggle to not be bored at the best of times, right? So I've talked about this before. I normally have multiple things going on at once. So obviously, I would sit there with one earphone in with like music on quietly, and then occasionally like a song would come on that I'd really jam to, and I'd have to skip it, or otherwise there might be outburst. But when you had the big corporate meetings where there's like 1,000 of you in the room, I'd just sit in the back and listen to music. I'd still ask pertinent questions which would annoy the hell out of my team, because they'd be like, how the hell can you listen to music, not pay attention and still know what's going on? I'm like, because I am paying attention. They're like, you're listening to music, how can you be paying attention? I'm like, some of us have the arguable gift of not being able to focus unless there's more than one thing going on at once. You know, because could be described as a gift, could be described as a curse. It's hard to know which one is which, if I'm honest. I haven't worked it out yet. Because my friends, they find it funny. Like, I'll be in the pub, I'll be playing my Star Wars game, I'll be chatting with them about whatever we're talking about, paying quite close attention. And it started off, they'd be like, oh, I'll stop, I'll wait until you're done. I'm like, please don't wait until I'm done. Just keep going. I am using my eyes to be distracted with this while using my ears to focus intently on you. And they're like, I don't understand. I'm like, just keep going. I'll stop you and ask questions just to demonstrate I am actually listening and being attentive. And they're like, okay. And then I would ask attentive questions, and they're like, oh, you actually do pay attention. I'm like, yes, I have to. This is the way I concentrate. And they're like, okay. And then nowadays they're just like, oh, it's just Chrissy. So what she does is fine. Nobody cares. It's wonderful, except for when I meet new people, and then they get all snippy about it, and they're like, can you just not do that? I'm like, no. And they're like, why not? And I'm like, because otherwise I won't listen to you. They're like, what? And I'll be like, A, I'll be thinking about it, which is why I'm doing it, right? But it's automatic process for me now. So it's just, I'm doing this to keep part of my brain idle, like, engaged, so that the rest of my brain can focus on you. They're like, yeah, but it doesn't look like you're focused on me. And I'm like, yeah, well, you were just talking about this thing, and this, and this, and this, and this. So I've got to ask you about this, and this, and this. And they're like, oh, you are paying attention. I'm like, I mean, yeah. And then somebody else will step in and go, no, that's Chrissy. She does this all the time. She's not being rude. She can't help herself. She has to do this, otherwise she gets, like, funny about things. And they're like, funny how? And I'm like, well, I start derailing the conversation with jokes, which is never a good thing, right? Especially when you talk about something serious, right? It's those sort of things, right? But I'm blessed by the 4 or 5 people around me who are patient enough to put up with that on a regular basis. I mean, I say regular basis, it's about once a week. It's about as much as people can really tolerate me, I suppose. And that's fair. I've met me. I'm an absolute pain. Honestly, I think this is the best thing for me, is playing games on the internet. Because I will witter on about nonsense if I don't have anything else to say. And, you know, I am totally focused on speaking to you guys rather than what I'm really doing, which is playing the game. Even though I'm playing the game with quite a large amount of concentration, it's only sort of like, it's not anywhere near enough concentration for what it should be. So hang on, that number's still going up, right? We're still getting tricks on this, I suppose. Yeah, that must be 8.697. And that's 8.12. Well, I mean, that number will probably go up again, right? I mean, one would assume it's going to go up again. Alright, be like that. Hang on. Wait, how much is this? Oh, well, I'll get that and that. And that. Very nice. Ooh. Oh, Sheryl Crow, you've just got a phenomenal voice. If you ever hear this, not that you'll ever hear this, Sheryl Crow, but you have an amazing voice. I've always respected your voice. You're amazing. I wish I had your chops. I really do. Musical chops, that is. I'm not trying to be like unsolicited advances. That's not my vibe. Not my vibe at all. I'm going to move on from that now, directly addressing Sheryl Crow and her capability, because, you know, she's not the only one out there. Usher's got an amazing voice. I wish I had his chops too. Not those type of chops. I'm going to move away from the word chops. I wish I had their talent when it came to singing. That's a better way of phrasing it. It's Little Dicky with his song about being a professional rapper, which is good, but I'm going to skip this one. Pentatonic's Hallelujah. No, I'm skipping that too. Oh, this. Right, so, if you want to laugh, right, so, somebody called Nick Lutzko on YouTube put a video together of Alex Jones rants as an indie folk song. So they've taken all of these words, all these things that he said, and then turned it into a song. And it is worryingly good. It makes me chuckle. I still laugh when I listen to it, and I've heard it hundreds of times now. I'm not going to sing the lyrics to you. I did learn them, because it is that funny. It's not as funny as My Stick from the Bad Lip Reading people, or Seagull Stop It Now, which are also Star Wars and funny. Like, I have a real bad issue with songs that are A, funny. The funnier the song is, to me, the more I like it. You throw Star Wars in with that, and, you know, I'm guaranteed to listen to that. And I've got some ones out there. Anything by Isaac 2187 Star Wars style has got me. I've given it all a thumbs up. I've got it on playlist, right? Love Isaac 2187's music. He's brilliant. I don't know who he is, where he's from, anything, but I know his music is fantastic, and it shouldn't be, but they're real club bangers too. Like, it's silly. Little vamp. The line is, literal vampire pot-bellied goblins are hoppling round coming after us. Like, that in itself, on its own, is a funny line. Seeing Alex Jones in the video singing it is even funnier to me. And it shouldn't be, maybe, but it is. 60 seconds, and then it'll be gone. Whoosh. Yep. I know these are a bit non-episodes in some ways. And, you know, I'm relying on the things that I'm saying to count towards people being interested in the show. The episode, the series in general, if I'm honest. Wibbly. Yeah. I'm going to turn that off, that doesn't matter. Well, I'm not, I'll leave them on, because, you know, why not? But yeah, like, there's not much to say, sadly. I'm going to spend some silicon. Oh, Incubus. I love Incubus. Do you like Incubus? So this was from the, is it Agoraphobia album? No, that's the name of the song. Agoraphobia. Or Agoraphobia if you're English. Which is funny because it's definitely Agoraphobia. And it's from the album A Crow Left of Murder, which is a pretty good album. But Incubus, generally, all round, pretty good. I met them before I even knew who they were. That was a thing. My bassist introduced me to them, and he's like, "Oh, this is so-and-so." I'm like, "Okay." And the guy was like some random chap. It turns out it's random boy, but he was like, "Oh, hey." And I'm like, "Hey." He was like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm with that guy. He's the bassist in my band. Don't worry, we're not very good." And he was like, "Okay." I was like, "Drink?" He was like, "Yes." So we just went off and got a drink. My bassist was a little bit surprised. I have a habit with famous people. I don't know who they are. I can't recognise them, and I don't know who they are as a general rule. Like, I have yet to meet a famous person that I've recognised straight away. Right? Generally, I will chat with them before I get to know them a bit before I know who they are. Right? So I won't recognise them, which works for me. Right? It's brilliant, and it seems to work for them. And then eventually, I end up chatting to them, and then somebody else will come up and go, "Oh, hi, blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "Huh?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, when I asked you your name, you told me your name was Mariella." Like, this is a true story. So I met Mariella Frostrup, the former Radio 1 DJ in Britain, right? And you know, I was just sitting in the sun at a festival in the artist area, chilling out. I had some drink and I was just chilling, and these two women came up and sat next to me, and so I got chatting, right, as one does, and I was like, "Oh, who are you?" "Oh, I'm Chrissy, who are you?" You know, and one of them goes, "Oh, I'm Mariella," and the other one goes, "Oh, I'm Joe." I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you," and we're just chatting away, and this, that, and the other, and then one of them, like, this random punter comes up to one of them and goes, "Oh, you know, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, who the hell are these girls then?" And then this guy went, "I love your show on Radio 1. And I'm like, "Wait, Mariella and Joe, Radio 1? So I waited for him to go, and I was like, "Look, maybe I'm missing a trick here, but please don't consider me rude, but you Mariella Frostrup?" And she was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you." She's like, "We've already met." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I had no idea who you were." And her mate started laughing, and I'm like, "So if you're Joe and you're also on Radio 1, am I right in thinking you're Joe Wiley?" And she went, "Yeah." And I was like, "Ah." And then I had to apologise for the crowd because they gave her a really bad time at the Metallica gig. So I was at the Metallica gig, she was up on stage, still didn't recognise her in the person when she was right in front of me. I'm like, "No, I'm really sorry about how they treated you," because they treated her really badly. Like, there was somebody injured at the front of the crowd. She was trying to get the crowd to move back. The crowd weren't moving back, and then there was a few of us dotted throughout the crowd who started manipulating the crowd, because we've obviously all done security work of some description. So we're pushing the crowd in certain ways, and suddenly there's space. We wheak this young waif of a person out of the way of the crowd, and suddenly the gig can then start. But people are throwing things at her and stuff, and she's just saying, like, the gig won't start until we get this injured person out, because otherwise they'll die, right? Which is, I think, completely reasonable. So I was apologising. She's like, "Don't be stupid. You don't have to apologise." I was like, "Well, I feel I do, because two reasons. A, I didn't recognise you, and I was there, you know, and I was quite close to the front." And she was like, "Yeah, but it's quite far away." I was like, "I know, but it's not the point." But also, you know, you probably didn't notice, but there was like 6 or 7 of us in a line, spanning like the whole width of the crowd, who started to manipulate the people around us in order to make it go. She was like, "Yeah, I did spot some of those people," and I was like, "Yeah, well, I was one of them." And she was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Let me get you a drink." I was like, "No." She was like, "Why not?" I says, "I've got a drink. Would you like some cognac?" And my drummer had been plying everybody with Kazakhstani cognac the whole time. Good work, Rob. Yeah, he was a good boy for that. Yeah, got very drunk because of that. But yeah, like, just random stuff. But I've met loads of famous people and had no idea who they were at all. None whatsoever. And, you know, like, I'm not cool. I'm not particularly interesting as far as I can tell. I mean, that's depending on point of view and whatnot. But like, when you're in the presence of somebody who's a Radio 1 DJ, which in Britain is a really big deal, like, you're like, honestly, super famous if you're a Radio 1 DJ in Britain, because, you know, you're on the flagship radio channel. Well, it used to be. I don't know if it still is, but back then, like, that was a big, massive deal. Wait, what's going on? Why can't I click this button? What's going on? What have I missed? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing again, aren't I? and it wouldn't matter even if I wasn't. I was, because it was 1.385 and this was 5, but this is actually 4 point something and this is 5 point something. I'm a doofus. Too busy telling stories, that's the thing, right? Ooh, listen to this interesting thing about something that's completely irrelevant. This still hasn't gone up by anything. Disappointing. 15 billion. Well, let's spend $1 billion or two. There we go. 5 billion, apparently. I spent 5 billion? That's a lot. I don't mind, it's a lot. Now we get 1 million a second of the water. Very nice. We're over 25% chance to get titanium, though. That's nice. Still at 58 seconds, though. I was hoping that would have come down by one. But at this point, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm going to have to keep saving because I don't know how many they're going to want. At which point, it's worth just saving and saving and saving until we're getting, like, I don't know, a lot. Right, it might be worth saving it until we get, like, I don't know, 1,000 or something? 1,200, something stupid like that. A lot is what I'm saying. It seems about right. I mean, I can work out how much. Let's not use that one. Let's use the other one. Ooh, it's the gonk. 57 seconds. Nice. The gonk is good, right? That's not what I was supposed to be looking at. So, hang on, I need to cough. So it was 196 Prastidium. So I did the right calculation. So we want to get 1 a second, roughly. So that's I'll just take 1 away. And I divide it by 3. So we need, 1,200 gives us 1 a second, give or take. I think that's right, which would be good, right? I mean, it seems like it's far away, but at the moment, let's see. We need 1,000, and we can multiply that by 57, right? Divided by 60. So that's 950 minutes, but it's nowhere near that. It's just nowhere near that, right? We're going to get a load when we next press this 10-minute button. We're going to get a load from that. We'll get 12 for a start. I mean, it's not the only thing we're going to get. We're going to get more, but yeah, that number's coming down slowly now. I mean, it diminishing returns, right? But we've gone from 130. We've got 70 this episode or something stupid. Not quite. That can't be that much. But we've got a lot, right? I mean, we must have got at least 45, and that's going to only get quicker. And I like it getting quicker. Right, look at that, we've already gone up again. Yeah. Xylophone. So this is from, I'm sure I've talked about it before, but it's from Dawn of the Dead by, what is it, Sam Raimi? I think it was Sam Raimi. Great film, but it's all about how zombies are a stand-in for mindless consumerism, right? Set in the 70s, in a mall, and you've got the only thinking people, who the ones who aren't zombies, and they have to survive, and so they set up this big setup to slowly clear out the mall to make life safer and safer, and then something goes wrong. But yeah, it's a great film, and the music that I'm listening to at the moment is the music in the background of the actual mall itself, which is, it's just like weird. I once now this is it's tragic and savage all at the same time. So, a little bit of trauma warning for those people who are sensitive to this sort of thing, but I happened to watch a particular shark attack because there was lots of talk about it, and I'm like, okay, I'm just curious, why is it so bad? I mean, I've seen some pretty horrific things, so for me it wasn't actually that bad. Just to see that sort of thing. I don't think I'd enjoy the experience personally, but like, I feel sorry for the guy who had it, because he was definitely chowed on by a shark. He was turned into human salsa and more human soup, I suppose, because he was. They found very little of him, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, the music of the gonk is very particular, right? And it's very. It's kind of neutral, cheerful, and inane. Now, the video I found of this shark attack was some German woman, I believe, who had filmed it from inside a restaurant. And you could hear the poor fella screaming for his dad, right? It was pretty harrowing in that way, right? And I'm trying not to smile and laugh while I'm telling this story, because it is pretty horrible. However, like, the music in the background was like the gonk, and the juxtaposition of seeing someone being eaten by a shark with that music on in the background just made it feel a bit like being in a film, right? And so I'm giggling about it, right, when I first see it, and my friends, they were like, what have you been up to this week? So I told them what I'd done, and they're like, wait, what? I was like, look, it's really horrible. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, so I watched this shark thing. And so I told them the story about it, and they're like, wait, no. And I'm like, yeah. They're like, what, the gonk? And I'm like, yeah, you know the gonk? And they're like, I know the gonk. And I'm like, so it's really horrific to watch, but it's got this music that makes it kind of cartoonish and kind of silly, and it completely undercuts the horror and solemnness and whatever. And they're like, only you could find that on the internet? And I'm like, I know. And I bet the woman who filmed it wished she'd never filmed it, right? Because, you know, of course, if that's the thing that you're remembered for, you're the lady who filmed it to the most inappropriate music you could ever find, right? And the family, if they ever saw that, like, poor people. I mean, they won't. They're Russian. They're very unlikely to see that particular video. Mainly because everything in the West is blocked to the Russians, apart from via VPN. Wait, no, they probably will see it. But that's not the point. The point is, you got to feel sorry for the guy and his family and the woman who took the video and my friends, because once I mentioned it to them, I made the fatal error of asking, would you like to watch? Yeah. The worst thing is they all said to me that had it not had the music in the background, it's probably the most savage and horrific thing they've ever seen. But the problem is it did have the music in the background, so they all found it just as awkward and weird and funny as I did, and they didn't want to. That was never their intent. They were just like, I hate you. And I'm like, why? And they're like, this is savage, but it's still possibly the funniest thing you've shown us yet. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for this to be the way it was. You know. So, like I say, trauma warning, that's a pretty savage story. But that's the sort of stuff that happens. I'm not going to tell you where to find that video. I'm not even going to tell you which shark attack it was. I've already given out too much information about it, you know. And you can rewind it, so it doesn't matter. But I didn't tell you where, I didn't tell you when, I didn't tell you the name of anybody involved. Just that it was a shark attack with some silly music. And it wasn't planned. Like, I think if somebody had put the music on afterwards, it wouldn't have worked in the way it did. But I wouldn't recommend going out and viewing it unless you've got cast iron stomach and eyes, because like, I would imagine for somebody who hasn't seen the sort of things that I've seen, it would be traumatizing, which is why I warned you about it, right? And all that from the gonk, right? Like, and you know, yeah, I would suggest don't go looking for that, even though it was very funny. And that says more about how warped a person I became through my life of things that has happened and gone on and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I can't help it. Honestly, I can't help it. It's just how these things are. Be part of your symphony. Clean Bandit? Symphony, yeah, Clean Bandit. Nice. It's a good tune. I like this. Video's quite interesting too. Ooh. No, I can't. We've already done that this episode. Duh. 840. Yeah, so sorry about that. Trip down Savagery Lane. Excuse me a second. Now, I'm not one who goes out looking for that sort of content generally. I'm not. And honestly, I've heard about other shark attacks that are equally savage and have deliberately not gone out of my way to look at them because I feel like it might be feeding my own personal trauma and stuff, right? And also my ability to look at the world in a normal way because, you know, I shouldn't find that sort of stuff entertaining. So I don't look for that sort of stuff, but I did it once and I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have looked that one up. And it wasn't for the reasons that other people would say you shouldn't look it up. It was because I was going, tee-hee, which is wrong in some ways. But yeah, you know, I'm not going to explain what stuff I've seen or why. If it comes out, it comes out, but I'm going to try and avoid that sort of nonsense because it's not relevant really. Just suffice to say, I've seen some pretty messed up stuff. And so the way that people like me deal with those things generally is we find ways to make them funny or tell jokes about it to deal with it rather than the alternative, which is shut down and cry, because they are counterproductive to rule one. And we all know rule one is don't die. And there's a joke there that I'm not going to make that had you been in my company I would definitely have made. You can probably infer it, but you know, I mean, we're an hour in, but you know, somebody might chop it and take it and go like, you know, how inappropriate is this person? I'm very inappropriate, and I am unrepentant about my inappropriateness. I'm just saying that maybe if you get given the option of looking at videos like that, don't do it, because it might scar you. I mean, it might not. You might be like me. But if you are like me, go seek help from a professional. Don't continue to just carry on finding this stuff funny. And that is my professional opinion. End of story there. Yeah. So we're on a brighter note. 216 Prestigium. Yes, it's good. It's good. This is why I don't tell my jokes on the channel, because they're dark. Like, I found that to be pretty light, that last 10 minutes of idle chat about nonsense I've seen on the interwebs. But, you know, like, my jokes are, some of them, not all of them, no, nobody writes continually just wall-to-wall horrible, dark jokes. Well, I mean, I'm sure some people do, but I don't. I do. Like, I wrote this joke, which is, one day I wish to invent a cloning machine, right? Because that way I could create a murder of Sheryl Crows. Yeah, see? A little play on words. And also it gives a little bit of homage to a woman who I think is a fantastic singer. Although she could do harmonies with herself without having to have a chorus pedal. That'd be amazing, right? Yes, and this is why I shouldn't be allowed out in public, I think. 54 seconds. 54. It's getting quicker. It's getting quicker. I should be less excited about that, but I'm not. I think it's good. At least I believe it's good. It's hard to tell. It's definitely good. What do you know? I mean, I'm talking to myself. I know nothing. I just cook the chips. Right. There's Jimi Hendrix. Who doesn't love Jimi Hendrix? Oh, and it stopped from being Jimi Hendrix now. Okay, right. Well, on that note, I think do we? What do we do? Do we? Do we do? 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 I need 20 billion. Or 44 million. Neither of those things are going to be appropriate for us. Duh. Duh. Yeah, Cleopatra's Cat. Love this song. Anyway, on that note, oh, hang on. You've hit the cosmic speed limit. Your speed has been capped for safety reasons. Interesting. That says we're going at 1.337 kilometers per second. That can't be right. I mean, we were going over several trillion light years per second. You can't tell me when to stop. I mean, we have literally reached some point where we can't go. That means we've travelled further than we could ever travel. I mean, hang on. 1, 2 billion? No, million. Billion. Trillion. 42 quadrillion. What that means is we've reached the internal cap of how far you can go in this game relating to speed and distance. Like, because these numbers have stopped now, right? You've gone so fast, we can't cope. Game has errored. You should have made the resources less difficult to come by, game. That's your own fault. The resources are too difficult to come by. I would never have capped it otherwise. Look, this would never have happened if the resources were more reasonable. Your scaling is too large. Way too large. Scaling is wrong. The scaling in this game is wrong. I'm convinced of it. Anyway, on that note, that'll be the end of this episode for today. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.